Today is June 11th, 2016. Joining us on the porch are Denise Knight and Dick Drake.
The best place for family. What are you waiting for? Where friendships run deeper. Come join us on the porch. So glad you're on the
porch. Sorry about that long intro. I was taking care of some things backstage, back curtain. So anyway, kids, you've made it another week. I'm so proud of you. Our listeners are the most patient because we're only here once a week. And I think it's fair for me to warn you before I start telling you about this week's guests that we only have one more show after this one until we take a slight, would it be called a hiatus? I don't know. My thesaurus is reading her phone. Would I call it a hiatus? All right. I knew a guy once that had a hiatus, and his doctor took it out, and everything was, oh, okay. I've been working. One of the reasons that we're not going to have a show over well, we're going to throw some surprises at you, but we'll talk about that later, or not because they're surprises. But I've been working on spreading my wings a little bit and trying out new things. So recently, I decided that I was just going to go and observe a John Denver cover conference. And I was there, and people are like, oh, so you do John Denver too? And I said, well, kinda. I do a version of a different kind of John Denver. And then I started explaining about how John Denver used to play with the Muppets, and he had a whole album, and they did some holiday stuff, and he did some other things, and so I decided that I would go and try to continue that tradition. So if there's a bunch of people there that are doing John Denver covers, they should at least be covering at least one of the songs that he did with the Muppets, and I would take the place of the Muppets. And they asked me which Muppet I would be, and I said I wasn't sure, that it would depend on who I was working with, and I was trying to feel it out. And then, in that moment, I came up with a really cool joke. And it goes like this. Why did Fozzie Bear cross the road? Why? So he could take his dog for a waka waka waka. Yeah. Yeah, I didn't get to see any of the John Denver conference. They started, then everybody took on the personalities. They started impersonating the two old grumpy men, Waldorf and Statler, that sit in the balcony, and they heckled me out of the conference. But as I was on my way out, there was a couple of folks that were very kind, and they asked me why I was crying and if I needed help. And I said, no, it's okay. I'm just going to go for a waka, waka, waka. And I'll just get in my car. And they were like, oh, okay. And I said, but you look like you need help. So I helped them carry in their equipment. And we started talking about the John Denver stuff that they were doing. And we had a lovely time. And we decided that we were going to do a little mini tour together. And they let me be a Muppet for 10 minutes one day. And we ventured to all of the John Denver places, right? So we actually ended up in Colorado and in Virginia and West Virginia and all of the other places that he sang about that I'm not aware of because I only paid attention to the Muppet stuff and his holiday stuff, which he doesn't, I don't think, sing about many places other than... Anyway, so so we toured and we sang about Rocky Mountain highs and crunchy roads. At least that's what I used to say. I was like, yeah, when I was a kid, I used to walk down crunchy roads too. And then they paved them all, and they were like, what are you talking about? And I was like, you don't want to take me home crunchy roads? And they were like, no, they're country roads. Country. I was like, oh, that's why they didn't let me in the conference. I didn't even, all these years, I was that guy that thought they were crunchy roads. and then I said, well, there are, so I started telling them about cinders and how I used to walk the railroad tracks, and those were crunchy too, and because you had and anyway, and in the woods when you're walking on tree branches that have fallen, that's crunchy, and dried leaves, and I was giving them a whole smorgasbord of sensory input, and they asked me to hitchhike the rest of the way. Which I'm glad they did. It was a super nice experience for me and for them, and I got to walk and thumb on very many crunchy roads and sing to many truck drivers and lost college girls on spring break. So we did that, and it was a lot of fun. But we'll talk about that more later, I guess, during their interview. So let me introduce you to 8th and Lake. 8th and Lake. You're on the porch.
Thank you, Matthew. And so we're going to start with Take Me Home Country Roads. Who'd have thought?
Almost heaven, West Virginia, Blue Ridge Mountains, Shenandoah River. Life is old there, older than the tree, younger than the mountain, growing like the breeze. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, Mountain Mama, take me home. Country road. All my memories I gathered round her, miner's lady, stranger to you are. Dark and dusty, painted on the sky, a misty taste of moonshine, teardrops in my eyes. Country roads take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, a mountain mama, take me home. Country road. I hear her voice in the morning hours. She calls me. Radio reminds me of my home far away. Driving down the road, I get a feeling that I should have been home yesterday. Country roads that take me home to the place I belong. West Virginia, a mountain mama, take me home. Country road, take me home. Country road, take me home. Country road.
So we're gonna let half of 8th and Lake sit down. Which are you, 8th or Lake? 8th. He's 8th, okay. So I'm going to let an 8th of the band sit down. And we're going to keep Denise Knight here because one thing I forgot to mention in my excitement to talk about my journeys with these guys, I forgot to mention that we are at the incredible Hall Newman Center in Oswego, which is right near Oswego State Campus and is connected in many ways to the campus and the school. But Denise is, what is your role here at the center?
I'm administrative assistant.
Ooh, which means you're in charge.
No, never.
You do a lot of work though. So we are at, so we're at the center, And Denise is not only part of the band, but she's also part of the center, who has been gracious enough to let us hang out here and have our show, which is really neat. 'Cause this is an awesome space. It's really gorgeous, and I'm hoping that we get some good photos to put into the slideshow. Denise, I'm just going to walk around because I'm usually standing in front of a stand. And now I've just got a microphone, and I've got my feet, and I'm just going to walk around. So
Okay.
I'm going to make you work
Don't
a little
get
bit.
lost.
Do you? Okay. How long has the center been here?
This center has been here since 1964, but the Newman Center has been serving the college since 1934.
Wow.
Yeah. And previously, it was based out of St. Mary's Church, the basement of St. Mary's Church, and then a house on Washington Boulevard, where a beautiful brownstone brick house on Washington and Sheldon Ave that is privately owned now.
Okay.
And then this building was built and started being here. It's the campus ministry. That's our ministry, to provide a space.
Yeah.
And we love having community groups come in and share our space. That's what it's all about.
That's right. And it's really a lovely space to be in. There's a lot of really cool things. It's got a nice vibe to it. You know, it feels really good in here. Very positive. There's a lot of positive things that are happening here, like energetically and physically as well. So with all of the things that the Newman Center is doing with campus and with the school, I know that there have been programs that have come through and that I've worked with at Camp Hollis. They've come out to the ropes course, they've spent the night, and they've done that kind of stuff when I've been working there. What are those programs, and how are they connected?
What we do is we try to give priority reservation to campus-related groups. There's many sororities and fraternities, service sororities and fraternities that use our space for functions, for fundraising, or for gathering, for their ceremonies, for their induction ceremonies. We have an AA group, a community AA group that has been coming here for years that use our space, and they love it and they're very comfortable with it. They call it the comfy couch space out in the lobby. Toastmasters uses our space as far as greater community.
Cool.
Let's see. Literary Guild, Bridge Club. Those are outside of our normal mission, but it's wonderful. International students. Sometimes we have jams that include the international students groups. It's just a wonderful space to share. And one of the things that falls under what I do is I keep a building usage log.
Okay.
And from January of this year to May, 9,000 people pass through our doors.
Wow.
That includes our services, people using our space, programs that we run for campus, for students. So it's really mind-boggling when you start keeping track.
That is.
And we have a wonderful year-round community as well that, provides many gifts. So, like our sound system
Yeah.
and our beautiful structure.
Yeah. This is really nice. So there's a service here every Sunday.
Yep.
Is that right?
6:30 p.m. We have an alumni. This is alumni weekend, so this is another really neat thing to be able to bring this forward, and we could put it on our Facebook page to put out for the alumni to see that the space is being so wonderfully shared another way.
Right?
So this weekend we have an extra 10 o'clock thing and a brunch.
Ooh.
A lot of eating around here.
Yeah.
because that's where you share best at the table.
Yeah. I was checking out the kitchen and what looks like the dining area, and there's a really cool sliding door that it looks like a wall, but then is a door and opens up to a whole other room. So when this building was built, was all of this stuff built into the building, or has it been getting added
It's evolved.
on? Yeah.
It's evolved
Okay.
through the work of some very talented people that have invested their time and design gifts to
Yeah.
bring it this far. And we're not done.
Well, no,
No.
you shouldn't be. Don't be done.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
I hope to be able to collaborate some more with the Hall Newman Center in the future and find some other ways that we can connect and collaborate between the farm and On the Porch and the Hall Newman Center.
It'd be wonderful. We welcome
It's a really
that.
it's a really cool place, really cool connection, and I'm just going to give a shout out really quick for Michael Wynn, who was going to be here tonight but had to reschedule. But he's really great. He's been a big part of the Hall Newman Center. And how long has he been involved?
10 years.
10
He's
years.
the director of ministry, and it's really, we've become almost a pilot for the other Newman centers, because he's a lay director of ministry and done some pretty amazing things and really developed our programming and outreach.
Yeah,
Very good.
good.
Yep.
That's cool. Well, thank you so much, Denise, for taking the time and working it out for us to be here and to talk a little bit about the Hall Newman Center. And good luck to you guys. I hope it goes really well, continues to go as well as it has been.
Come back.
We sure will.
Okay.
Denise Knight. And now, a word from our sponsor. Around 1650, a Dutch scientist ground and polished 550 lenses. He placed these lenses in a tube. This tube had the ability to magnify objects by 270 times. This allowed scientists to view objects 1/1,000,000th of a meter. For those that were interested, this new invention let people really start to learn about all of the living organisms we are unable to see. For the rest of society, it helped create germophobia, which has opened us to the wonderful use of hand sanitizer. Thanks, microscopes. Yes, thank you, microscopes, for advancements in medicine, technology, skincare, and pranks played by students in middle school science classes. For the next time you want to dig deeper, look into a microscope. When you want to see your own blood, look into a microscope. When you want to make your staff feel workplace stress and pressure, put them under the microscope. When your kids don't believe you about what's under their fingernails, have them scrape it into a microscope. 550 lenses, ladies and gentlemen. 550 pieces of magnificent magnification. 550 ways to say, I love you, microscope. And I love the way you let us, at On the Porch Radio Hour, look deeper into our quality of programming. Microscopes, ladies and gentlemen, take a look.
This is Matt Slocum with your local sports report. The New York Yankees are currently in a 3-game set on the road with the Detroit Tigers now through Sunday. They travel to Colorado to take on the Rockies June 14th and 15th. The Yankees are currently in 4th place in the American League East behind the Boston Red Sox, Baltimore Orioles, and Toronto Blue Jays. The New York Mets on the National League side currently in a 4-game set at Milwaukee to take on the Brewers now through Sunday. They'll face the Pirates at home June 14th through the 16th for a 3-game set. They are still currently in 2nd place in the National League East, right behind the Washington Nationals. The Syracuse Chiefs are currently in a 3-game set at Indianapolis. They'll start a 3-game set at Louisville from June 13th through the 15th. The Chiefs are currently in 5th place in the International League North, behind Rochester, Lehigh Valley, Scranton, and Buffalo. On to high school sports now. New York State playoffs in baseball in Class AA. Cicero North Syracuse lost to Shenandoah 5-1 in regional play. They finished with an 18-6 overall record. In the Class A, Christian Brothers Academy lost to Queensbury 11-0 in regional play. They finished with a 12-12 overall record. And in the Class B, Solvay defeated Binghamton Seton Catholic Central 7-0 in regionals. In semis today, they played Marlborough Central from Section 9. Results for that will be in next week. On to softball, Class AA. Liverpool lost to Boston Spa 3-0 in regional play. They finished the season 20-2. JD lost to Troy 10-1 in Class A regional play. They finished 19-5. And in Class B, APW lost to Windsor Central 6-2 in regionals. They finished with a 19-5 overall record. On to boys lacrosse. Class A, FM lost to Corning Painted Post 11-10 in regional play. They finished 13-7 overall. In Class B, JD defeated Horseheads 15-2 in regionals. In the semis Thursday, they defeated Webster Thomas 13-9. In the final today, they played Yorktown for the state crown. Result of that game next week. And in Class C, Casanova defeated Maine Enwell 16-3 in regional play. In the semis, they lost to Penn Yan 11-10 in overtime. They finished the season with a record of 19-3. Girls lacrosse. Class A, CBA defeated Corning Painted Post 17-9 in regional play. In semis, they played North Rockland on Friday. And if Victoria is there, they played winner of West Islip and Pittsford today. Results for both of those next week. Class B, Watertown defeated Vestal 9-8 in regionals. In semis Friday, they played Yorktown, and if Victoria is there, they played winner of Garden City and Victor today. Results next week as well. And in Class C, Skane Atlas defeated Shenango Forks 12-1 in regional play. In semis Friday, they played Bronxville, and if Victoria is there, they played the winner of Mount Sinai, Hanayoy Falls Lima today. Results next week. Finally, two quick sports jokes for you in honor of the Stanley Cup Finals. So I have a Pittsburgh Penguins joke for you. Why don't the Penguins drink tea? Because the Canadians and Red Wings have all the cups. It's true. San Jose Sharks joke now. What do the Sharks and Possums have in common? Both play dead at home and get killed on the road. That's it for your local sports report. I'm Matt Slocum.
You're listening to On the Porch Radio Hour. We'll be back in a moment.
This is what's happening in central New York. Oswego Expeditions offers historical walking tours of Oswego every Saturday at 11 a.m., beginning June 11th. For more information, visit oswegoexpeditions.com or call 315-561-0223. Mexico's town-wide garage sale is held on June 17th and 18th. Pick up a map at Tops, Pathfinder Bank, or other local businesses. The Jamesville Balloon Fest is held at Jamesville Beach on June 24th through 26th. More information can be found at syracuseballoonfest.com. The 6th annual Made in New York Festival will be held at Madison Barracks in Sackett's Harbor on July 2nd from 11 a.m. until 5:30 p.m. For more information, visit Made in New York or Facebook or contact Mike Campbell at mcampbell@madisonbarracks.com. Mother Earth Baby hosts Fun with Essential Oils on August 5th at 4:15 p.m. Call 315-216-4622 for more information. The Oswego YMCA Dragon Boat Festival will be held August 19th and 20th. For more information, visit OswegoYMCADragonBoatFestival.com. The Calit Theater and Conference Center hosts Caroline Cole on July 8th. The theater is also hosting upcoming screenings of American Sniper, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, Zootopia, and How to Be Single. To find out about these and other events at the theater or to purchase tickets, visit calittheater.com or call 315-298-0007. The 36th Annual Old Songs Folk Festival will be held June 24th through 26th in Altamont, New York. Visit festival.oldsongs.org for more information. The Finger Lakes Lavender Festival is July 9th and 10th at Lockwood Lavender Farm in Skaneateles. Visit fingerlakeslavenderfestival.blogspot.com or find the Lockwood Lavender Farm on Facebook for more information. Friends of Spirit host a holistic health and psychic fair at Mexico Point State Park on August 27th. For more information about the event or to become a vendor, visit Friends of Spirit on Facebook or call 315-341-4547. Artie Camp is 6 weeks of creative day camp experiences at the CNY Arts Center. Programs in studio, theater, and culinary arts for ages 6 through 16 are offered. Registration is now open. The CNY Arts Center will be hosting another round of ballroom dancing classes beginning June 15th. The Arts Center also offers a monthly writers' cafe where writers of all ages can come and share their work in a casual setting. The next cafe will be held on June 26th. For more information about Artie Camp, Authors Spotlight, Writers Cafe, ballroom dancing classes, and many other projects and events at the CNY Arts Center, visit cnyartscenter.com. The Wooden Apple Farmstead 4th Annual Music and Art Festival will be held September 2nd and 3rd. The event will include a songwriters contest, vendors, and live music. For more information about the festival or to find out how to become a contestant, vendor, or performer at the festival, visit Wooden Apple Farmstead on Facebook or call 315-591-0711.
All right, well, I'm going to bring up 8th and Lake, which is band members Dick Drake and Denise Knight. And I want to start the interview by asking you how you guys started as a musical duo.
We met each other at,
Open mic
which one?
on Tuesday night.
At Old,
Old City
City
Hall.
Hall.
Ah, all right.
Down by the river.
Mm-hmm.
And Dick approached me and asked me if I would accompany him on a couple songs. And then we just started playing and just connected.
Our first practice was over 4 hours long, and she couldn't even stand up. We had played so long, and she said, "Do you feel this magic?" And I said, "I've never really played with anybody."
Yeah.
And I said, "This is really incredible," and she's so talented, and
Yeah,
it's been a great journey so
that's
far.
awesome. Good work. So were you out with your flute, or did you have your keys, or how did it, what were you doing?
I think it was the flute. That's how it started. And then he's gracious enough to let me drag in whatever else I want
Good for
to
you.
play.
Yeah.
So it's been a lot of fun.
Good work.
Yeah.
And are we going to hear some of the flute tonight?
We are the next song.
Oh,
We're
good.
going to do Castles in the Air.
Castles in the Air. Okay. I apologize. Is that a cover? Or
Don
is it-
McLean. Yeah.
Oh, all right. Yeah, sure. Oh, yeah. That's a good one. Well, that's exciting. Have you guys written any of your own?
Yes, I have wrote 6 songs, and I have wrote 4 in the last 6 weeks. And one of the songs I wrote a couple of weeks ago, it's called My Music Friends, and I dedicated it to Denise, John McConnell, and Taylor Ricks.
Nice.
And very inspirational, and so, yeah. And my wife and I went to North Carolina 6 weeks ago, and I wrote a song called This Is Carolina. And my wife, when she heard it a couple of weeks ago, she was screaming that North Carolina needs to have this for a state song because this is what it's about.
Yeah.
And and I had never wrote anything. Our first practice, I was staring at a collage of, we had a golden retriever that passed. And after she left, in 25 minutes, I wrote a song called My Friend. And so we play it especially when we go to nursing homes. And I always say that it's dedicated to Marty, and Marty was my golden retriever.
Oh, man.
And the first time I played it, my wife thought I was singing about Denise. And then when I told her, I said, I wrote it about Marty, and I gave her the lyrics, and she just sobbed. But
yeah.
she's over that now, and it's
She enjoys it.
yeah, absolutely.
That's great. So you wrote your first song the first night that you guys had that 4-hour
Yes.
jam session, and then over the last 6 weeks, you've written 4 of your 6 songs. Is
Yes.
that right?
Yes.
Holy cow! And so
One
it's
song
a
I wrote,
song.
I created at 3 a.m. in the morning, and it's
Yeah.
called "This Is My Town,"
Mm-hmm.
and it's about driving through my old town that I grew up in Lycoming and all the changes.
Oh, yeah.
And you can't help changing time, and you just have to go with it.
Yeah.
And enjoy what you have, because it's going to be different. And so take that time and really appreciate what you have.
Yeah, that's great. No more crunchy roads in Lycoming?
Still got crunchy roads here.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Good. You don't want to
a
lose
lot of
those.
crunchy roads.
So, when you guys are playing out, you're doing open mics, and you said you're doing senior homes.
Yes.
What other venues are you going into?
We played for at Rice Creek for their 35th anniversary and for Earth Day. We do a lot at senior housing, and we just love them and the audience. And we're playing at St. Francis tomorrow,
Oh, cool.
Saturday.
Yeah.
And we played for Oswego County Teachers Retirement
Oh,
Party.
yeah, Retired Teachers Association.
Well, that's
Go.
cool.
Yeah, teachers are a tough crowd. They were pretty good, though.
Yeah. Yeah. They. Yeah, I bet they are. You guys need to check out senior camping that they
Oh,
do
at Camp
at
Hollis.
Camp Hollis.
Yeah.
You guys would be a hit there. That's right up your alley.
The ladies love them because
Yeah.
it looks like, John Denver, and they swoon.
Right?
And, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Won the lookalike contest, I think, at the John Denver conference that we were at. Well, that you were at. That I got kicked out of. All right. So what's the so you're playing St. Francis tomorrow or Saturday, and then after that, do you have big summer plans happening?
What else do we have? I'm not good at remembering things.
We got August 18th, we're playing at Springside for a huge chicken barbecue. there.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right. We get to play outside in their beautiful back garden under the arbor, unless it rains.
Yeah,
The
that'll
inside,
be
but it's a
nice.
beautiful facility as well. And we're in contact with a senior housing, a retirement home in Rochester
Awesome.
that we'll hope to be playing at.
Yes, and our holiday music, I think, is very special because I
Guess
do at least 14 of John's
Yeah,
best songs,
man.
and we did at
do
least 7 or 8
whatever.
from the Muppets Christmas show in
Yeah.
1979.
That's awesome.
You nailed it.
Yeah, buddy. I'm such an inspiration. So, will you please honor us and play us another song?
Yep, this one's Dan Fogelberg, The Reach. We're going up the coast to the Maine coast.
Yeah, awesome.
Beautiful song.
8th and Lake.
It's May, it's autumn, the birches have just begun turning. And it's life, and it's dying, the lobstermen's boats come returning. With the catch of the day in their hands, the young boys cold and complaining. The flock beats the beaches, and out on the reach it is raining. It's father and son, it's the way it's been done since the old days. It's hauling by hand 10 miles out from the land where the chow waits. All the days are so lonely and long, and the seas grow so stormy and strong. But the reach will sing welcome as homeward they hurry along. And the morning will glow reach lies frozen for the lost and unchosen to go. And the morning will blow away as the waves crash and fall. And I reach like a siren sings as she beckons and calls. As the coastline recedes from view, as the seas fill and roll, I will take from the reach all that she has to teach to the depths of my soul.
You guys have another one in you?
Well, we would like to do one of Dick's originals.
Oh, yeah, please do.
And this is the first one, right?
Where have you gone to, my friend? Was that you next to me? I need to know. Hey, my friend. There's so much time to stop and wonder why you went away. Wish I had the chance to spend more time with you today. Hey, my friend. My friend, I guess I was hoping in some kind of special way, my friend. Wasn't enough to have the time we'd shared as two. How lucky was I to have the time I spent with you, hey, my friend. My friend. So when I see you again, I'd like to share my time with you, my friend. So until the time when we meet again, I will always remember you. My friend, my friend, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you both, Denise and Dick, for being on the show and playing all of your music. It was really great to hear your stories. Let's hear it one more time for 8th and Lake. Yeah. What you think, Gina? You got time?
Think so.
All right.
When the prairie met the ocean, she said, "What do you see? 'Cause I've heard things about you that I think are just make-believe. I can see that you're strong, but is that really all? I've been waiting to meet you." You've seen me get restless and lose control. I have buried their loved ones in the depths of my soul. I'm the tempest inside you and the terrors that bind you. They've tried to tame me for years. I have soaked in their laughter. I have swallowed their tears. I have begged and have cursed when they've called me by name. But I wish they'd not wish me tame. The ocean said, "Prairie, I've heard of you too, and I think that your life is one I wish I knew. I can see that you're strong, but is that really all? I've been waiting to meet you." They've plowed through my treasures, hoping I'd grow. I have buried their lifetimes as they begged for control. Without me, they would have never survived. Now they have left me barely alive. They've tried to tame me for years. My wind and my lightning is all that they fear. I have begged and have cursed when they've called me by name. But I wish they'd not wish me tame. I have come to you broken, but I've come to you whole. With all that I'm left with, I've come to behold you. They've tried to tame me for years. I have soaked in their laughter. I've swallowed their tears. I have begged and have cursed when they've called me by name. But I wish they'd not wish. I wish they'd not wish. I wish they'd not wish me tame.
Thanks, Gina Holzapfel. That was our On the Porch Radio Hour music director. February 8th, 1962, Robert Albert, sitting in Tonkahogen in a diner all by himself. As he was rubbing his toast through the rest of his egg yolk and his corned beef hash, was kind of going over the French-Indian War and how his people were displaced and how he'd never really thought about that before. And then he was thinking that he really wanted to learn about his ancestors. He knew the story about how the town had started and where they all came from, kind of, and how the town was built on people that really didn't have a place to belong, and so they created their own. And like everybody else in Tonkahogen, he wanted to be able to feel like he belonged, like he had someplace, like he had something. So he did his best to figure out his own family tree, from the library to asking people, and trying to interview his other older family members, but nothing was really working. Nothing was really getting him there, and he came across a couple of things in the library that he thought would give him a lead to a French trapper that had married a Native American. And I mean, that's how all of the families in Tonkahogen started, but he was excited, and so he decided he was going to get on a plane and he was going to fly to France. And as he arrived in France, he did the tourist thing and walked around and went to Paris and decided to go on a subway. And as he entered the Charonne station on line 9 of the Paris Metro, there was a plaque, a makeshift plaque that somebody had hung up, talking about 9 people that had died in that station. And what really struck him about that wasn't that 9 people had died at that station, but that the 9 people that died at that station died on the day that he decided he needed to come to France. On February 8th, 1962, there was a group of French men and women that were protesting. They were protesting a group that called themselves the Organization of the Secret Army. They were an independent self-defense group, as they called themselves. And people were protesting because this independent self-defense group had begun bombing and assassinating people, not just people, but Algerians, to try to prevent the Algerians from gaining independence from French rule. And this was really fascinating to him because from what he knew, which wasn't a lot, but from what he knew from the French-Indian War, his people were almost forced to go into war to keep themselves free. And then once they lost the war, they were required to pay taxes to cover the costs of the war. And that didn't feel very free either. And he was thinking about war, and he was thinking about what people do to gain what they think of as freedom. And then he had this big epiphany about maybe how war is just a way for us to figure out exactly where we belong. And all this goes right back to Tonkahogen. And as he stood there looking at this plaque and several trampled flowers that were sitting on the floor, he decided that he was going to just give up his search. Because he wasn't sure he really wanted to know where his family came from and from what they came from. He wasn't sure he really wanted to know any more about people that were forced out of France or that went to the New World to find what they thought of as freedom just to get into another war. No, he just wanted to be a tourist. He just wanted to walk around Paris, enjoy some of the towns, and then he wanted to get himself back on a plane and find himself back home. And that was the first time that he'd ever called Tonkahogen home. And that was confusing because it always had been where he lived. He'd never realized that he hadn't used the word home. He thought that was odd. And then he started thinking about how he'd never really joined in when there was people in the community or at parties and they broke out into the chorus of their town's adopted song. He thought maybe that if he had joined in, then maybe he would have felt some of those pulls that you get, those hooks, those little ropes that pull at your guts. Right below where your ribs and your sternum meet, there's that spot. He doesn't know it by anything other than his guts, and that's what he always called that growing up. And that's what he always thought of, and that's what he always felt when he and his buddies were fooling around and he would challenge one of his buddies and say, "Hey, ain't you got the guts?" He always thought about that spot right there. And it's in that spot that you get those hooks that pull you to where you belong. And for somebody like Robert, when you've got so many hooks pulling you in so many different directions, but not a single one of them feels solid. There isn't one that, well, that's interesting. There wasn't one that was painful enough to pull him in the right place. Well, that doesn't seem right. Why should the most painful one bring me home? Wouldn't I want to pull away from that? Wouldn't I want to avoid that? But boy, that brings up a lot of other things that he just didn't want to have to talk about. And as the plane took off and headed back to the States, on liftoff, you get a pull right in that spot. And that was interesting too, because he wasn't going somewhere. He was leaving somewhere. He was taking off. Man, there's so many things. So many places. So much to learn, and yet so much that he thought he could learn better without knowing. Certain things you have to know in order to learn other things, but he just wanted to learn the other things without having to know the first things that he needed to know to learn. It was awful. So he asked the flight attendant for one of those little bottles of whiskey. And he looked at the woman sleeping in the chair next to him, and he tipped it and drank to her. He drank to her because she was sleeping. And he'd always thought about sleeping as being a comfortable place. And if you're comfortable, then you can sleep. So when he got off the plane, he ran as fast as he could. And he found a car. Well, found his car. And he drove himself as fast as he could back to that place that doesn't have a home. That place that sits between two countries that won't claim them. They claim themselves. And that's where he started. He started by claiming himself. And as soon as he made that decision, then the word home could rest comfortably on his lips and he could say it. And there it sleeps. Home. So when Robert Albert sits down with his grandchildren now, and he sings softly to them and rocks them to sleep, he gives them the most comfortable place that he can because he wants them to sleep as best as they can. And there it is. The most comfortable spot he can help them find right where his ribs met his sternum. And it was that pressure. Not a pulling, but just a pressure. Comfortable. And just as they started to fall asleep, he would open his mouth, and those words would wake up and fall gently over his grandchildren. This is my home. This is my only home. This is the only sacred ground that I have ever known. Should I stray in the dark night alone, rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Rock me, goddess, in the gentle arms of Eden. Well, friends, those are the bittersweet notes that bring you to the end of another episode of On the Porch Radio Hour. And I would like to invite you to join us in 2 weeks back at the Wooden Apple Farmstead, where we will be enjoying the sounds of Olivia Flint, and we will have a special guest, Julie Fisher. And please remember that we love having people in-house. So it's so cool to be at the Hall Newman Center in Oswego and to look out over a sea of faces that look like they still might be happy to be here. I want to thank Dick Drake and Denise Knight for being here and bringing us the awesome sounds of 8th and Lake. And I want to thank Brian, our sound guy, because he did a phenomenal job. Thank you so much for all your hard work, Brian. Brian was a mover and a shaker this evening. There was a lot of things that he had to respond to, and you did gallantly. I want to make sure that I'm inviting you one more time for our show that's going to be on July 3rd, where we will be recording live, of course, from the porch of Mother Earth Baby, as I get to try my hand at hosting an awesome radio show at a parade. I am so pumped. So pumped. I've already started watching old Macy's Thanksgiving Day parades on YouTube. I am getting there. It's happening, and I'm really excited. So you need to come join us at Mother Earth Baby, where we'll be on the porch, literally on the porch at the 4th of July parade in Oswego. Please make sure that you're staying tuned, like our folks on Concert Window. Thanks for being here. And everybody that goes to our website at www.ontheporch.weebly.com, and you just go to that little watch and listen tab, and you go ahead and click, and yeah, that's right. What will come up is over 60 episodes of On the Porch Radio Hour. Yeah. That's over 60 hours. I don't know why that's funny. You don't have to, you just listen to one at a time. It's baby steps. It's okay. And then tell us what your favorite ones are, and we'll say thank you. And thanks for being here, and we'll see you at our next show. And until then, peace to your journey.
On the Porch is a production of the Wooden Apple Farmstead with host and writer Matthew Wood. Our musical director is Gina Holsopple. Our stage manager is Ray Monet. This week's sports report is provided by Matt Slocum. A special thank you to tonight's guest sound technician Brian Dice. This week's show is recorded live from the Hall Newman Center at SUNY Oswego. This week's guests are musicians Denise Knight and Dick Drake from 8th and Lake. Find information about past shows, being on the porch, and much more online at ontheporch.weebly.com.